I don't feel like filling it in, but just try to keep track. It'll just kind of help us in the long run. We will track it this week. So we had 3 days, 2 weekend days, and then we'll do this week and then Monday, and then it'll be September. So then we'll discuss the next part of it. Okay, so trust me when I say it'll be much easier if you have information with it, because you still have to do the whole process. Okay, so then once you've done that, you can close your Mac. Just set it off to the side. If it's still in your bag, it's fine there too. But just set it off to the side. We may get to it towards the end of the hour. Kind of depends on how things go. Okay. Then take out something to write with. Pen, pencil, does not matter. And then up on your plexiglass, I set some printouts for the guided notes. Did I miss anyone inadvertently? It was not my intention. Okay. So for every unit that we do, you will get guided notes. Okay, and there might be some things that we discuss or bring up in front of you and you know it. Previous experience. Do you have to write everything down? No. But you'll have it to help you review for the test when we get to the test. We'll use it to just kind of pull some information and so forth. Okay, so we're going to start with some notes here in about 1 minute. Reminder, your This Is Me, those slides are due by midnight. Okay, so if you're one of the 3 that haven't turned them in, keep that in mind. So if there's questions with it, if you got stuck on something or you're struggling in some way, then let me know before you leave class today so we can kind of figure some of that out. Friday, you got the career choices, which we will actually kind of pull some information on that this week and then periodically throughout the semester. Okay, so if you haven't completed your career choices, I do have it due by the beginning of class tomorrow. I think I have 1:30. But you'll probably have some time to work on that. I might go in and change that for those of you that may not have gotten to it on Friday. Okay, so let's just kind of start looking through career planning. Some of you have a job. Some of you, that's your goal, is to get a job here in the next few weeks and so forth. Okay, so we're all at different experiences of sorts. So we talk about investing in yourself. Can anybody think of an idea, or what does that mean? What does it mean when we talk about investing in yourself?
Your strengths.
Your what?
Your strengths.
Your strengths. Finding maybe classes that can help you in certain things. We talked about maybe those strengths or things that you might need to improve on. Okay, so we're going to discuss different examples that you could invest in yourself. You don't have to wait till you graduate. Okay, these are things that you could be doing now, whether you're a sophomore, junior, or senior. Okay, so let's just kind of think back to Friday. And when you were looking at those different career choices, if you got to that point on Friday, are you building skills towards those careers? Are you investing in yourself? Okay, maybe you can think about, okay, why are you picking a career for EMT? Or why are you choosing to look at careers having to do with mechanical work? Have you ever thought about what influences that? Because there are different influences. Because this is where we're all different. Okay? Maybe your values are influencing the career choices that you're looking at. That doesn't mean that that's the career you're going to end up doing, because we all change careers throughout our adult life, but maybe the value. So think about, you went on a mission trip. And when you came back from that mission trip, what you had saw, what you experienced really kind of changed how you thought about your future. Okay, maybe your values changed, and that's influencing your career. Okay. Maybe it's been a goal of yours. It's been a goal to work in the medical field. That doesn't mean you know what part of the medical field, or it's been a goal of yours to be able to fix things when they break. Maybe that's a goal. Okay. So how are you choosing your career? Another option. Maybe it's a need. So when we looked at the career tabs, one of the tabs said, opportunities or future. I can't think of the tab now. But the needs for it. Maybe you looked at a career and you looked into the future and it's on the decline. And so you're going and you're looking at it going, okay, maybe that's not the right route for me. Okay. So is the need there for an EMT? Is the need there for firefighters? Is there a need? Maybe that's influencing your career. And then it could just be a want. You want to experience the world, so you want to join the military. What comes out of the military? You don't really, it is what it is, and you'll take the most with it, but maybe it is just a want. So when you're looking at your careers, we're all influenced a little bit different. Being influenced on how to choose your career doesn't really matter. It's what are you doing to invest in yourself. So when we talk about the values or the goals, the needs or the wants, okay, all of these lump into, as Quentin said, what are you doing? Is it your education? The classes you're taking? So those of you who are going, I'd really like to own my own business. Okay, are you taking business courses here at the high school? That would be investing in yourself. If you're thinking you want to go into medicine for whatever part of it you'd like, are you taking more than just the required science courses? Are you going above and beyond? Okay, so education is one thing, getting a part-time job. Now that does not mean, okay, I want to own my own business that, I don't know, has some sort of, maybe it's a construction business. That doesn't mean you have to work in construction as a part-time job. Maybe you work at Sunshine. That's still investing in yourself because you're showing responsibility. Okay? You're learning those other skill sets, so improving your skills through education, improving your skills through a part-time job. Volunteering. Some of you volunteer through your church. Some of you go through salsa. Okay? Some of you may have even court order. You got to volunteer. You volunteer. Okay? It's improving you. It is investing in you. Okay? Extracurriculars. You're part of the, hopefully we'll have the spring musical. You're part of the spring musical. You're part of the golf team. You are a member of salsa. Okay? All of these shows in some way that you're investing in yourself. Okay? So some of you, when we get to the resume, you're going to discover maybe I need to do a little bit more. Maybe there's a gap. Okay? And so your resume is going to be able to kind of fill and give you an idea, are you investing in yourself? Or are you coming to school doing the basic and going home and doing nothing else? Okay? And so it doesn't matter what grade you're in. If you're a sophomore and you're starting now, great. If you're a senior and you haven't started and you're going to start now, great. Okay? But you want to think about what's coming and how can you improve on what you currently have maybe as strengths and improve on some of those weaknesses. Okay? We're going to discuss about the resume. And I kind of mentioned it briefly. A resume is going to give you an idea of where you're at. Okay, anybody have a resume, whether it's from a different class or you did it because you were applying for a job? Anybody have a resume? Nobody? Okay, you're gonna have one by the end of this week. Okay, so what is a resume? First of all, it is a working document. You don't ever stop adding information to it. You keep it updated. Okay, so even though I may not be looking for a new teaching position or a different type of position in education or out in business world, okay, I still want to keep my resume up to date because my resume is going to summarize my qualifications and my experiences of how I've invested in myself that hopefully can benefit whomever I might be applying for a job. Okay, so when you talk about a resume, there are 3 required pieces to a resume. Okay, one of them is a heading. Think of it as your contact information. Okay, if you send in a resume and there's nowhere on there your name, how do they reach you, whether it's an email, phone number, address, okay, then that's going to be a problem. That's the first part. And then education is the second part that needs to be included. That does not mean at the top you see the heading, next thing you see education, and the next thing you see the third one. You could potentially, but it doesn't have to be that way. Heading, yes, probably up at the top. But with education, where did you get your education? Where are you going to school? You always put the most recent at the top. So if this is your first year at Brandon Valley High School, that's listed first. Did you attend Sioux Falls, Washington? That would be listed the second. Or did you move from a different state? What school? Okay. We only deal with the high school. We don't go back to middle school and all of that. It's just the high school just because of credits and accountability of graduating and so forth. Okay. Where's the school located? You might include your GPA. For some of you, why would you not want to? Others of you may not want to include your GPA. Doesn't mean that it's a bad thing, and if they look and go, oh my God, they don't have their GPA, they're going to look anyway if they get a transcript for other reasons and so forth. It's no big deal. But it's something that you can add if you would like to. You might include classes. Okay. You take some of those upper level courses, or you take more than is required. Okay. You took Woods and Woods 2. You took some of the ag classes. You just didn't take one, you took more because it kind of leads you to where you want to go. Okay. And then the third part is your job experiences or work history or volunteer experiences, if that falls into play. And so this is going to be, like I said, it's going to give you a good measuring point as to where are you. Okay. So those are the 3 required parts. Okay. For your history, your work experience, you want to include what your responsibilities were, because that shows some of the skills that you're picking up from that job. Okay. And the same as with education, you always start with your most recent job or volunteer experience. You always go chronological order, most recent and then backwards. Same thing with responsibilities, put the most important at the top. If they're reading through your resume and you don't have anything listed by importance, they may never get to something that really shows how impressive that you could be as a potential employee. Okay, so you always want to start with the most important at the top. So for example, if you have babysitting, okay, you might be going, I don't have a job. Well, do you babysit? Do you help neighbors mow or move snow or whatever it might be? Okay, which we'll get to that part, but for babysitting, maybe organizing education activities might be first on the list if you do that. But transporting them to different activities may not be all the way at the top. So you can kind of pick and choose. And then other things that you could potentially involve or include, I should say, extracurriculars. And you would want to be including in those when. So if you participated in spring musical, spring of 2019, spring of 2020, I know we didn't actually perform, but you were involved, all of that, okay? You want to include when. Skills, hard skills. Hard skills are measurable. They're the technical type of skill. You can weld, you can program with certain languages. Okay, so they're not the soft skills of a team player and I work well with others. Those are soft skills. The hard skills are the ones that you would see on a resume. Awards, academic awards, other types of awards in activities. Doesn't always have to be Brandon Valley. Okay. Maybe you got an award at your part-time job. Career objective, that one you probably won't necessarily see on your existing resume when we get done, just because that's going to be more specific to a particular career. And we'll look at an example, okay? But for the resume, know the required parts and then realize the extras that you could include. So when we get to your resume, do you have these? So we'll kind of see from there. So you have the printout of what I have up front. So let's just start at the top. Okay, a lot of times we see electronic version, and you have to also consider printed version. Because you may submit a resume and human resources, who does usually hiring and so forth for larger companies, they may print. And so they have hard copies, they can make notes on it. And let's say you print this and you're Jack. Well, if you look at the top, half of his name is missing. It looks fine here. But if they were to print it out and they can't read who this person is, they're probably going to put you into the no pile. Okay? So just at the top, however you want to tell yourself, just check your margins. Okay? There's no set formatting for you must have a 1/2 inch margin at the top. That's thrown out the window. A lot of times a resume, the goal is to keep it on one page. But as you get older and you get more experiences and so forth, it gets harder to keep to one page. So that's why some people adjust their margins, okay? So you just always want to make sure it's going to print, it'll print correctly so they can read them. All right, so let's take a look at the contact information, or that heading at the top. What do we see? Anybody see any issues? Now what? Yeah. Okay, look at the zip code. There's a period or a dot in the middle. Okay? Circle it, highlight it, put an X through it, however you want to do it, just kind of point out. Okay, again, some things are a little bit more obvious than others. Anything else? Check the email. It's not an @ symbol. It's a registered trademark symbol. Okay, so sometimes you look at text and you just assume that's what it was. So you just have to take some time. There's been times when I look at your resumes and so forth, names are spelled wrong, like your own name. Because you look at it for so long and you're looking at it and going, okay, yeah, don't need to look at my name. Well, okay, keep that in mind. So some of those little things that are not as obvious, here's a couple other recommendations, okay? If you look at the email address is basically his first initial and then his last name, for the most part. Must be, maybe ours is middle initial. And it's at a Gmail, which is fine. Some people specifically go out, create a generic email, a free one through Google or whatever else, with their name, okay? And you don't use your personal one. So if it said Go Links 2020 or 2021 or whatever it might be, that's not telling prospective employers your name. Okay? So by going out and just creating a free email, use your name, so then when they're emailing, they know who they're emailing. Don't use current employees or employers. So for example, I probably don't want to put my K-12 email up there. Same thing with the number. I probably don't want to have the Brandon Valley High School phone number. Why? What's that say to a prospective employer? What could you be doing on their dime when you're supposed to be working for them? Yeah, you could be looking for a different job, personal stuff. Okay, so a lot of times, like I said with the email, also with numbers, don't include a work number. If you have a cell number, that's the only one, fine. If you have a home phone, which I know some of us do and never use it, if it doesn't have a voicemail connected, you may not want to use it. Okay, so just kind of keep some of those things in mind. Okay, so that I think is probably all of it up there. Okay, objective. Here's that objective that I said, you probably won't have one to start off right now. This one says, I'm very talented and I'm looking for a position where I can make a difference in the company. I can't tell if difference is misspelled, but I think it is.
Yeah, it's with an M.
Yeah. So two things. If you were to have an objective, be specific. What's the position and what company? Okay. The other suggestion with resumes, the resume is about you, so you do not have to go overboard with I statements. It's about you. It should be. If it's not, then you shouldn't be putting it on your resume. Okay? So most of you won't see the objective or won't need the objective unless you're specifically applying for an exact position with a specific company. Okay? So it doesn't need to be there. You don't have to have it. Okay? All right, career history. Like I said, some things are obvious. Some may not be so obvious. If you compare Denny's, just go down to the next one for JCPenney. It lists where it's at, Sioux Falls. One abbreviates SD and one it's spelled out. Be consistent. It doesn't matter. You can abbreviate them, but then just have it all the way down abbreviated, SD. Or spell it out. Some people, spelling it out just kind of makes it look like there's more on your resume. Some people can't afford to use that extra space, so they have to abbreviate. Just be consistent. You'll notice the date, include the month that you start. You don't have to have a day. So if it's August, what year? And if you are currently working there, don't put an ending date, because if you're still working there, if you have a date, they're going to think that you're not. Okay, so this one uses current. Some people use the word present, either one. Okay, so looking at the 4 responsibilities. Okay, I'll point out the obvious. We missed a bullet on the first statement. Okay, some of you, if you're going, oh, I didn't even see that. Okay, maybe I won't point out the obvious, but that's one. Okay. Comparing Denny's to JCPenney, what are we missing underneath the Denny's job? I'm going to get my names. Brianna?
His position.
The title, your position. So below Denny's, maybe he's a host, maybe he's a server, maybe he's a dishwasher, I don't know. But you should have a title. Okay, so just kind of keep that, again, consistent. What else might we notice with specifically to the Denny's list? Oh, yours doesn't? Oh, I must have printed a different version. Okay, so yours doesn't say month, so make sure you would include that. I may have typed it in earlier too. Okay. Look at the 4 listed items for responsibilities. Okay. Tyler?
2 middle ones don't end in periods.
Okay. We have a period at the end of the first one, at the bottom one. They're probably really not full sentences of sorts. You probably don't need the period. Okay, but be consistent. What about provided, took, cleans? Okay, Ella? And what should they be for this particular job? Current, because you're still working there. Don't get, some are past tense, some are current, present tense. Okay, be consistent with those. Even if you're going, well, I don't do that anymore, but the opportunity or the possibility is still there because you still work for Denny's. Okay. Spelling, excellent, does not have a D in it. Okay. Anything else with Denny's? Okay, so let's take a look at JCPenney. Okay, so JCPenney has where it's at. We've talked about the South Dakota month of when you start, month to when you end. Okay. Same concept. This now is past tense because you no longer are working at JCPenney's. Okay. So, yep, they will be past tense. Packaged is spelled wrong. So is performed. You mean customers? And down in the second from the bottom, should be customers, not costumers. So a lot of the little things, that's what people who are hired to hire people for a company, that's what they look for. And it could be as simple as, oops, yep, it should say customers, but it says customers, and so now you're gone. Okay, so we just want to take that extra moment, double check things. Okay, the bottom bullet, the reason why he left, that does not go on a resume. Okay, you don't need to explain why you no longer work for someplace. That might come up in an interview question. Okay, but it doesn't belong on a resume. Okay. Should be good with that one. So now if we look at the next one, okay, obviously the indent for your bullet. Now, does that mean you can't indent them? You can indent them, just be consistent. Indent them all. Okay? Don't just have one indented. Okay? They're using present tense for selling and working. This is a previous job. It should be past tense. Month. You need another month. You're missing the month. Even if you're, well, it's December. It's all the way through. Nope, still need December. Okay. The other, something that you probably don't really think about, month for JCPenney, the date, they should line up. Why is this one indented in further? Kind of goes with the whole indented bullet. Okay. Just be consistent. I know it might seem a silly little role. Again, if they're looking for somebody who has detail specific jobs that they would have to do, and you're giving them a resume, and these little things aren't taken care of, they may consider that as a red flag. Okay? They don't care enough about the resume. Why are they going to care enough about making sure our work is done correctly? Okay? Okay, going down to the final work experience. Again, we need months. We need to align them. I think some of it is, again, the present versus past tense. Any misspellings in there? I'm not sure. So any questions with the work experience? So this is one of those required things. So if you're going, I have not had a job, okay? We will work through each of your individual situations and we'll come up with some experiences. It may not be a part-time job where you go and you have a schedule and all of that, but we usually can find something that would represent something similar, okay? So hopefully we can at least come up with one, if not two, some of your work experiences, okay? Okay, education. I will start by saying, some of you, your education might be the first thing listed at the top. A lot of times after you graduate or you're currently in school, that might be your experience, okay? So don't think that the order has to be the same, okay? When I first graduated, education was listed first. So, and we'll get to that part of it. Education is not spelled wrong. It's just doesn't like the all capital letters. So let's take a look at the education for Jack here. Okay, 2 commas, so you can cross one of those out or circle them to point that out. Do you attend Sioux Falls High School? No. There's more than one. So they need to be specific. Which high school? Okay. So it might be like Sioux Falls Roosevelt High School in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Okay, Roosevelt High School, Sioux Falls. Okay, so it's how you want to word that. You have not got your diploma, so it will not say high school diploma. So you may have it altered, say Brandon Valley High School, and think back, okay, what year did I start? So maybe August 2018 to present, to show that you're still in school. And then maybe before that you were at Laverne High School over in Minnesota, and that was August 2017 to May of 2018. You still list all your high schools. Okay. What else could be here? What else could you list under your education? Look at your notes. What else could you list for education? What is it that some of you may not want to list? GPA. Okay. You could list courses. Okay. So don't just think it's a one-liner of sorts. Okay. Then we have skills at the bottom: friendly, hardworking, willing to learn. Are these hard skills or soft skills? They're soft. Do they belong on a resume? Nope. Hard skills go on the resume. You can put skills, but don't list soft skills, those that are not measurable. Okay? This stuff you'll find like in an interview, they'll ask questions to try to demonstrate, are you a team player? Or in your cover letter, you can explain a group project that you worked with 4 or 5 other people. You each had your own, however you would demonstrate a team player. Okay? Hard skills go here, not soft. So something with welding, something with maybe small engines, program a computer using a certain language, work with Microsoft Office or with Mac, however you want to do that. Okay, so measurable type of skills. Okay, questions with anything on here? I know I may have skipped. Oh, a couple things real quick. With the two financial ones, yes, you can repeat if you had responsibilities, similar responsibilities, but instead of doing performed administrative tasks such as, okay, performed administrative tasks, and then again, in your cover letter, you could explain some of those tasks instead of just listing them out. Try to keep your lists short and get the information across, but then you have your cover letter that's gonna kind of put it together, okay? Okay, go ahead and get onto your Mac. And let's take a look at your vocab. So if you go into classroom, a career vocab. Now we have not discussed all 10 terms, okay? I will say we just discussed the hard skills and the soft skills. So where do hard skills go, Ryan? Number one. Yep, it is measurable physical ability, mental ability. You can, again, measurable skill. So if one is a hard skill, where is soft skills? Ryan again. 10. It's at the bottom. Non-technical. There's still skills you have and that you possess and still will help you, but it's not measurable. So non-technical abilities. So you got 1 and 10. So you have hard skill, soft skill. The next two, value and resume. We discussed the value. Who can tell me where value goes? Tyler?
5.
Principle reflecting worth placed on an idea or action. Okay, there's your value. And then resume. Number 3, informs an employer your personal interest or for a particular position. Is that the resume? Do we agree? Yay, nay? Tyler, say no. What do you think it is, Tyler?
6.
Summary of your education, skills, work experience, and qualifications. Yep. Your resume is 6. Okay. Then from the second column, I think goal would be the only one in that list. Where do we think goal goes? Tyler?
4.
4, plan of action based on one's values. Yep. Plan. A goal, you're setting a plan for yourself. The goal out into the future. So then the other ones we haven't specifically looked at. So anytime we do, we'll come back. But you can go through them and you can just check your own work as you go. Okay? So tomorrow when you come in, we will work through a few more things with the resume and get you started on your own. Okay? If you have questions or issues with your me slides, we have a couple minutes. So if we need to go through something with that on your own, we can get that done. Otherwise, you can start putting things away